Hey there, cat fans. Welcome to Meowster Podcast. I'm Rebecca Zish, and that's Tim Black.
Hi.
How are you, Tim?
I'm good, Rebecca. How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had, in the time since we last spoke,
Yes.
I am now bionic.
Yay.
Had wrist surgery. They've put some plates and screws.
They put you back together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did I mention last time that I'd broken my wrist?
You did not.
I did not.
No, last time I asked you how you were doing, you're like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah. Which was a lie. I
Yeah.
actually had a broken wrist and a cast, and it was
a whole thing.
Yeah. And so now since that last time, I've had surgery on my wrist, and now I'm in recovery.
Yes, on the road to recovery.
On the road to recovery, comma, on the road to.
Okay.
Is how you might file it.
Yes.
If you were the type of person who still kept paper files.
If you go to the Meowster Index, look under recovery, on the road to. Page 227.
Yes. Yeah, so that's how I am. You know, it's not perfect. Still many things I can't do.
You've
but
only got 3 sentences of notes.
yes, because I can't type and nor can I, because unfortunately I broke the wrist of my dominant hand.
Yes.
And my left hand writing, my
Mhm.
opposite hand writing, not great.
Not great. You did write me a left-handed note.
I left him a left-handed note. That's true. It took me to write that left-handed note. It was like 3 sentences, probably.
Yeah, right.
It took me a good 20 minutes to write that.
Oh my, it took me at least that long to read it. So don't feel
That's
bad.
how illegible it is.
Am I holding this right side up? What is happening?
What does it say?
Is that an M or a 3? What am I looking at here?
I don't know how left-handed people do it.
I don't either. My dad's left-handed. He's always done it. So he doesn't know how he does it either. He just does it.
Yeah. Well, that's his dominant hand.
There you go.
All right. So that has nothing to do with cats.
Nope.
No. But we do have something to talk about
Yeah, we do.
that has something to do with cats.
Yes.
We watched a film.
Yeah, we watched another movie.
Yep. This one, made in 2016,
Mm-hmm.
titled A Street Cat Named Bob,
Yes, indeed.
which is the film version of a book,
Mhm.
a nonfiction book
Yeah.
titled A Street Cat Named Bob,
Yeah.
that came out in like 2012 or something like that.
It was published in the U.S. In 2013.
Okay, the UK edition was 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a few years ago,
Mhm.
and the book was an international bestseller.
Yes.
It's been published in many languages, and there have been
30 languages.
yeah, and that was the original sort of memoir.
Yeah.
And there have been other books, several children's books,
There have been,
and
yes.
sort of uplifting
Mhm.
kind of axiom books.
Yeah,
I think.
Sure.
So all these books have been written by a gentleman and his ghostwriter.
Uh-huh.
His name is James Bowen. He, in 2007, had been a long-suffering addict.
Yeah.
He'd been living on the streets of London,
Mm-hmm.
and he was trying to, on the road to get straight through the methadone program. He was busking
Yeah.
in Covent Garden, and through a series of incidents, he got a leg up, an opportunity to live in some funded housing, some
Yeah.
government-funded housing, and while staying there, he encountered a cat.
Yeah. Cat came in his window.
Well, that's what happens in the movie.
In the movie,
That
right.
is not what happens in real life. But in the movie, they make it, yes, it's
Right.
a lovely little moan. The cat comes in through the window. And-
Right.
But a lot of the things that happen in the movie did actually happen in his life.
Mhm.
The way they tell them in the movie, not exactly the way they're told in the, in the book is much more, straight from his life,
Yeah.
obviously.
Right.
The movie takes a few liberties, but some things are pretty well
Mhm.
done. A few of them a little out of order in the movie than they are
Okay.
in the book, which
All right.
is a little curious, but okay. But it's all for the sake of storytelling,
Absolutely.
I suppose.
Yeah.
And but the most interesting thing about this movie, I think you know what I'm going to say here, is that Bob the cat plays himself.
Yes, he does.
They did not get an actor cat.
No, they did not.
They used the real Bob the cat.
Yes, they did.
Who changed James Bowen's life. I mean, basically, this amazing cat came into his life, and because James Bowen at the time, who had nothing to give, gave all of what he could to this cat to help save his life, get him vaccinated, he got him neutered, and to repay the favor, the cat just became his constant companion.
Yeah.
Went out with him on the streets of London, busking, and made it possible for him to make a living because now he's got this cat.
Right.
And people are like,
oh, who's this guy with this cat?
Yeah. And he mostly would sing his own songs. He was a songwriter. You know, obviously as a busker, you play things people want to hear.
Yeah.
But he played a lot of his own songs, and people began to get a name on the street because, oh, he's that guy with a cat who's actually a pretty good singer, songwriter. Yeah. So he started gathering crowds and making enough money that they really, you know, and he could see the end in sight. Like the cat made it possible for him to really see I could live a life as a sober person.
Absolutely.
And that's the story. That's the uplifting story. It's why the book's a bestseller. It's why it's internationally known. The true story is that James and Bob still, they basically make their way in life now as spokespeople for charities that assist the homeless and animal welfare.
Yeah.
So great.
Absolutely.
So that's really the story. That's the movie. The movie's charming. It's well made. It's well acted. I liked everyone in it.
Yes.
I kind of got nothing else to say about that, you know?
According to IMDb, they had cast multiple cats to play Bob, but they used Bob.
Yeah.
Bob's the one
Well,
who could be better.
And, you know, we talk a lot about actor cats and how they're trained and they're trained to do specific things.
Yeah.
This cat, Bob, this is streaming on Netflix.
Yes.
This is really easy for people to get. You
Yep.
can get it.
That's how I saw it.
You can get DVD delivery or stream it on Netflix. I got it from the library, as you know I like to do.
Yep.
And so I had the extras. And in the extras, what they show you is that James, the real James, was just off camera.
Okay.
In all the time.
Yeah.
So Bob is just being himself.
Yeah.
Because he's a super social cat. He always has liked everyone. So he's with James, so he trusts what's happening.
Yeah.
And so he's interacting on camera with the actors. But as far as he's concerned, it's just like, well, I'm hanging out with James and his friends.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm just being myself. And he's not necessarily a trained cat. He can do certain things. He can do high fives and sit up and stuff. But he wasn't trained to, you know, jump up on the couch and jump to the window. Or like the cat in Llewyn Davis where he's like run down the fire escape. You know, they didn't have to do anything like that because it's his natural habit to ride around on people's shoulders. He likes to do that. So he does it with the actor who plays James in the movie, who's very good.
He was very good, yes.
And he's the star of Unbreakable. Is that right? That movie about
Talking about Luke Treadway? Yeah.
The movie about the POW, I think that Angelina Jolie made. I feel like it's the only thing I'd seen him in.
Unbroken?
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Oh, Unbreakable is the
that's the
one with Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm like, wasn't in that.
Yeah. I feel like that's the only thing. He has a big IMDb list.
He does. He's got a lot of stuff on his
He's got a
IMDb.
lot of like Shakespeare stage credits.
He does.
In the UK.
Yeah, he actually, in 2012, he did National Theatre Live, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime.
Oh, yeah. Great play.
We have tickets for that coming up.
Yeah, I saw it on Broadway. I did not see it in London, but we'll be seeing that, but not with him.
No, not with him. No, but I noticed that when I was looking through his IMDb. I'm like,
anyone who might be listening who might happen to go see that in their theaters.
Yeah.
I love National Theatre Live. That's a fun thing, but... yeah, so he's great. I think all the actors are solid.
Very much so. Let me say this about
Bob.
Let me say this about Bob as an actor cat.
Yes.
There was one scene in particular which blew me away.
Yeah.
As far as this is a cat actor, like really acting, like for real.
Yeah.
There is a scene where, I don't want to give away too much of the movie, but there was a scene where James, the movie James, not the real guy, James and Betty are hanging out. He meets Betty as his neighbor.
Yeah.
And they're hanging out at her flat. She had prepared dinner, and I think it's after dinner, and they're all sitting around in sort of a semicircle, and they're talking. And Bob is sitting on the couch, and the other two are kind of sitting on the floor across the table from each other. Anyway, Betty is telling her story. This is where we learn about her background, where she's from, and how she ended up to be where she is.
Yeah.
And it's a tragic story. It's sad. And the camera cuts to Bob, who's sitting on the couch, and Bob has a 100% appropriate expression on his face.
Yeah.
He's sitting there like, oh, this is something very serious has happened. This is a very sad and heavy thing.
I thought you were going to say in that same scene.
Yeah.
Because the character Betty is a vegan.
Yeah.
And so she cooks for James a couple of times in the movie as they're getting to know each other.
Right.
And she cooks him, like seitan and these,
tofu
vegan proteins.
And stuff. Yeah.
And at one point, James is making the argument that he's like, just let tofu be tofu because it's Christmas.
Right.
She's made them Christmas dinner.
Tofu turkey or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And James is like, why pretend it's something else? Let it be itself.
Right.
And he's like, what do you think, Bob? And he offers the cat, and the cat actually kind of recoils from it. It's like, I don't want that. Yes. That's what I thought you were going to say, because I was shocked by that. I was like, how did they get him to do that on cue, on camera?
He's an excellent actor. He's done both of these things.
Here's the thing. I don't think it's because he's an excellent actor. I just think he's a special cat.
Yeah.
And he's like so comfortable that he's just doing what he would normally do.
Yeah.
And it makes it so different than watching an actor cat who's been trained. My favorite thing Bob did in the whole movie is there's a scene where James has been doing really well busking. He's got plenty of money.
Yeah.
And he and Bob are in the grocery store. Because that's the thing. He ends up, Bob becomes his constant companion.
Yes.
He gets him a harness and leash. And he just goes everywhere with him, and people just accept it. They're like, oh, that's Bob. Everyone likes Bob.
Right.
No big deal. So they're in the grocery store buying, like sardines and tuna. And, basically James becomes like a pescatarian.
Right.
Because he and Bob start kind of eating all the same food.
Yeah.
And they get up to the counter in the grocery store, and James says, oh, Betty would like these flowers. They've got flowers wrapped in plastic like you do in a grocery store.
Right.
And he picks out some carnations, and he's holding them. And Bob, who's sitting on his shoulder, starts eating the plastic that the flowers are wrapped in, the cellophane. And I was like, oh, my God. You could never train an actor cat to do that.
Right.
That's proof that we're watching just a cat.
Regular cat, yeah.
Just a cat. He's
Absolutely.
like, plastic.
It's great.
And it's that noise of him chewing the plastic. I mean, that got recorded really well. And it was,
it was great.
That's my favorite thing Bob does in the movie. Chews on plastic. I bet you anything they weren't expecting him to do that.
Probably not. That was just a lucky accident.
Yeah. And
because,
Luke Treadway is a really great actor. He's really in the moment. He's obviously a method actor.
Right.
And he just went with it. Yeah, he kind of went like, hey, Bob, that's not for you.
Right.
I love that part.
Yeah, that was great.
And that's what I think is really special about this movie, especially for cat lovers, is you're really going to see a cat behave the way your own cat might behave in these situations.
Yeah.
Now, you may not have a cat that would ever become a busking companion and feel comfortable traveling on a homeless man's shoulders through the streets of London, busy streets.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I had this feeling throughout the whole movie. It's like, I know that this is going to have a happy ending. This is going to be like a feel-good movie.
Well, Bob's still alive.
Well, absolutely.
And so is James Bowen.
Right.
And so everything turned out okay.
And so is the real James. Yeah. But There was just like a constant sort of feeling of something bad is going to happen, sort of a constant sort of dread. Like, oh, everything's going too well. And there are a couple of moments where some sort of bad things happen, but nothing terrible, nothing really tragic.
And I think when those things, I know what you mean, when they did happen to James Bowen in real life, he may have thought, this is the end of the road for me.
Yeah.
Us watching the movie, we can feel comfortable knowing that he became a best-selling author.
Oh my God.
Hello, Harriet. He became a best-selling author. He's doing well. He's still sober. Bob's still alive.
Right.
Yeah. No, but I know what you mean,
but
because when you
in
see
the moment
a
of that
cat
movement,
on this, and they really filmed this on the streets of London.
Yeah. Right.
So with lots of people around.
Lots of people.
Yeah, scary things can happen.
Yeah.
It's also fun. What happens in this movie that doesn't happen in most movies with actor cats is you get Bob's POV.
I love that. There was a whole lot of cat's eye view camera stuff.
Yeah. And
it was great.
The first time Bob tries to follow James into London, it really, again, great acting on his part.
Yeah.
But I think he really did feel this way. He's kind of feeling, I'm regretting this decision because I trust this one guy. I didn't know he was going to be on a bus.
Right.
I didn't know there were going to be dogs walking around.
Right.
I didn't know all these other things were going to happen.
Yeah.
And poor Bob is like, well, I got to stay glued to the fella I chose now because there's a lot of danger around here.
Right.
Yeah. And you do get cat POV of dogs on the street.
You do.
That's scary. It does develop that feeling of dread. But people can feel good knowing you could show this movie to kids because everything's going to turn out okay in the end. So as long as the kids are old enough to handle issues of homelessness and drug abuse. Because, James has to get sober in this.
He does.
And withdrawing is not...
It was not pretty.
No, it's not fun to watch. And it wasn't fun for Bob either.
No, it wasn't.
He didn't like it. He was stuck in this apartment with this guy withdrawing.
Let's go out to Covent Garden and sing again like we always do. What's this about?
Why are we locked in here with all the lights off?
Yeah.
And where are my sardines? Darn it. He's a fantastic cat. Another thing we have to say about his acting, of course, is that so James and Bob first met in 2007.
Yeah.
He was already a grown cat.
Right.
So James actually does not know how old he is. But they met in 2007. This movie was made in 2000 or released in 2016.
Right.
Bob's playing himself.
Yes.
He looks great.
He does. Yes.
He's playing himself as a much younger cat.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's very spry and athletic and active. Don't you think?
So. Absolutely, yes.
That's another thing. We watch these movies where we know they have the action cats, right? Cats that have been trained to jump from the floor to counters and go in and out of windows or whatever. And this Bob, he just does all this stuff.
Yeah, he does. It's amazing. Well, Bob doesn't know he's old. He doesn't know that he's supposed to slow down.
No. And he also doesn't know that other cats get treats when they do stuff like this.
Right.
I think it's probably just a matter of James going like, Bob, we need you over here. Hey, Bob, come here. And he just like trots over and jumps up.
Yeah.
But they get him to run across floors.
Yeah.
They get him.
It's amazing.
Yeah. One cat. Well, I guess there are other cats.
Right. For certain like stunt stuff. Sure.
But it's seamless.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't tell you where the other cats are.
No, me neither.
I was looking too because I read that Bob plays himself, but there's I really thought it was going to be mostly other cats, but I would venture to guess it's 90% Bob. Don't you think?
Absolutely, yeah, I agree.
I was thinking about the Grumpy Cat. Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever, right? Where Tartar Sauce plays herself.
Right.
She was not like that. When Tartar Sauce is in that movie, if people haven't listened to that episode, they can go back and hear us talk about the great made-for-lifetime Christmas movie with Tartar Sauce, a.k.a. Grumpy Cat, the voice of Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza, yes.
So that's Grumpy Cat playing herself. She's either being carried or she's sitting in a cat bed.
Right. Always.
She does nothing else in that movie.
Nothing.
When
Aubrey Plaza brings her to life.
Yeah. Sure. When Lil Bub had her TV special.
Yes.
She basically just laid in the middle of a bed.
Right.
But
she did.
She has her own.
She's got.
She doesn't get around
things.
as well.
Right.
So you're willing to let that. It's just cool. She had her own.
Cut
TV
her some
special,
slack
really.
on that. Sure. Yeah.
But Grumpy Cat, tartar sauce didn't know how to do anything. She knows how to sit still.
Just be grumpy.
Just stay there. Stay in that fluffy cat bed. Bob, it's amazing.
It is.
I'm surprised he hasn't been scooped up to be in another movie.
I know. They could have used Bob in Llewyn Davis.
He looks just like the cats in Llewyn Davis.
I was thinking about Llewyn Davis throughout this whole thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he looks exactly like those cats.
He does.
When I've seen that image, the poster image for this movie, everywhere.
Right.
Because it's been streaming on Netflix and it shows up when you look and stuff. Every time I saw it, I thought that the cat in that movie is being played by the cats from Llewyn Davis.
Yeah.
I did not know until I said, hey, we should watch this movie for the podcast. And then I looked into it. I was like, that's not a Llewyn Davis cat.
No.
That's the real cat. He just happens to be identical to the Llewyn Davis cat.
A ginger cat.
Yeah, I like there is a lovely older woman character who gives a little monologue about the ginger cat and how special they are. The best friend you'll ever have. Yeah, and that's true for James, right?
It is, absolutely.
Yeah, going back to his age, there's a couple moments in the movie, like there's one early on when he's got him at the vet, and he says that he thinks Bob might be underweight. He's been a street cat, right? I'm looking at Bob. I'm like, you're not underweight. Because, of course, now in reality, he and James have a nice house and he gets all the best vet care and eats all the best food. And so that was funny to me.
That was funny. Yeah. I thought so too. I thought so too.
I'm like, come on, Luke Treadway, you really got to sell this one. Because that cat is not even close to being underweight. If anything, that cat might be a little chubby.
Yeah.
Not really. He's got really good body conditioning. He's a good looking, healthy cat.
Sure.
Yeah. So the director of this movie, are you familiar with his work? So Roger Spottiswoode is a real big time, real deal movie director.
Okay.
He actually wrote the screenplay for 48 Hours.
Oh, okay.
He's directed at least one James Bond movie.
He wrote, okay.
Yeah. Are you looking at his IMDb now?
I am. He wrote 48 Hours and another 48 Hours.
Yeah.
Or parts of it anyway.
My favorite thing about his history, though, is he's the director of Turner and Hooch.
Yes, he is.
So he...
Wow. So he's worked with animals before.
Yes, exactly. Clearly worked with animals before. No, I mean, I didn't realize. I was thinking, oh, it's a British movie just based on a book that was a bestseller. It's got these stage actors in it, blah, 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 right? And then... I mean, I didn't really know anything about it when I suggested it for us.
Right.
Because then I'm like, no, this is Spottiswoode. He's the real deal. He's a big time movie director.
He directed Tomorrow Never Dies.
Okay. So that's the James Bond movie. Yeah, I knew he'd done a James Bond. But he's done big action movies. He's done like thoughtful family dramas. He's done comedies. He's done cop movies. I mean, he's done it all.
He's done some TV stuff.
He's been working for 30 years?
Yeah. Yeah, his director credits go back to 1980.
Almost 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is no kind of fly by night, let's make a charming movie about a book people like,
Right.
Because sometimes, honestly, when things are British, they can be very small productions, and I was like, oh no, This is
the real deal.
Yeah, and I think people know this kind of movie. It might not do big box office, but it's got legs in DVD sales and streaming and digital downloads because, it's a movie for the whole family. People are going to continue to enjoy this book. This book is still in publication. They're still writing new Bob books, like the children's books and stuff. Those are coming out all the time.
Yeah.
So more and more, you're going to have more and more generations of people finding the books, finding the movie. I mean, whoever bought the rights to this, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like the Marley and Me thing, People like Marley and Me, so it's by the rights. The thing about Marley and Me, I mean, not to ruin it for anyone, but Marley doesn't make it.
Right. Right.
In this story, Bob's still with us. He's still out globe-trotting, speaking up for homeless animals. And, after you've read the book or you've watched the movie, you can follow Bob on social media.
Right.
You can be a big fan, a big Bob fan, and support him and continue to help him and James make money.
Here's an interesting tidbit that I just came across just now.
Okay.
You know how in the movie we see the scene where, James and Bob are getting all this attention and somebody brings this to the attention of a literary agent.
Yeah.
That literary agent in real life, Mary Pachnos, Pachnos.
Okay.
She's the literary agent responsible for the UK rights to Marley and Me.
No.
Yes.
Well, no wonder someone brought her this story.
Absolutely.
She had already been down this road.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting that I used that as an example.
I know. It was funny because as you said the words Marley and Me, my eyes immediately went to that on the screen.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah.
The true story, and it's the way it happens in the movie too, is that a reporter, a newspaper reporter, asks to do a story about James and Bob. And then someone brings that newspaper article to the attention of, I think it's Random House. I mean, it's a big deal publisher.
It doesn't say.
It wasn't some sort of little boutique thing or fly by night. It's like, Random House, Simon and Schuster, like, one of the biggies.
Right.
And said, hey, here's a thing.
Here's an idea.
Yeah. And what I think is great is that with all of the things that James had been through in his life, when someone gave him a chance and said, hey, let's get you in this housing program.
Right.
Let's get you in the methadone program. Then Bob comes along and says, you're a groovy guy. Let's you and I hang out.
Right.
And then when he gets this book and they say, we'll get you a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
Let's do this thing. No one ripped him off.
Yeah. That's amazing.
I love that part of it. Right?
Yeah.
No one ripped him off.
Yeah.
No one tried to give him too small of a back end on the book. No one tried to talk him into, because sometimes like you get too big of an advance and that turns out to play against you in the long run. No one did that to him. No one, he didn't need an attorney. He was able to trust them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because he didn't have any access to any resources that could have helped him. He had to trust them.
He did. He had to. Yeah. He's just got to go along with what they say. I mean, and the way it's presented in the movie, it's like Betty is moving out and she's like, oh, somebody dropped this off.
Oh, yeah. That's funny. That's a real movie moment,
right,
isn't it?
Yeah. Somebody left a message for you.
From a publishing company or it was funny. It's that only ever happens in movies.
Right. Well, a literary agent, I better find a phone right away.
Hello, my name is James. Are you the literary agent? A ring ring.
Kid, we're going to make you a star.
Yeah, that moment in the movie for me was, that's a little too convenient.
Right. Yeah, but still, it came together somehow.
Yeah. I mean, and the story this all takes place in 2007, 2008. He does not have a cell phone.
No, he does not.
I appreciate, because he honestly didn't. He was a homeless guy.
Right.
He wouldn't have had a cell phone.
He didn't have anything.
Yeah. And that was interesting. The literary agent was like, well, we're probably going to have to get you a phone.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great story. I shied away from this story for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, hokey, someone else trying to use their pet to, and when I finally decided to learn more about it, obviously I didn't know much about the movie, but I learned the story a couple of years ago, and I was like, okay, that's not,
it's not too hokey.
No, this guy had a story to tell.
Yeah.
He really did have a story to tell, and a really special cat.
Yes.
They're all special, but some of them are a little more special than others.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I shied away from it at first. I really thought, oh, this is probably hokey. I don't know what this is. And also there are a lot of homeless people who live with their pets.
Yes, there are.
So I really didn't understand what was going to make this story.
Right. Why is this special?
But it is.
It is.
And then maybe all this happened. Bob went to James for help when he needed help all those years ago, just because he knew someday I'm going to get to show the world what a great actor I am.
That was his plan all along.
That was his plan.
Very, very cunning.
I've seen those cats in Llewyn Davis.
I can do better than that.
Better.
Wait till they get a load of my concerned face when I'm sitting on the couch listening to that story.
Yeah. They get a load of how I don't like tofu. The whole time I was watching it, I was thinking, I wonder what Tim thinks of this, because I felt good about it.
Yeah, I did too.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't have any hilarious jokes to tell.
No, there wasn't really anything stupid that happened that you can joke about.
No. I did think it was funny in the subsidized apartment that James and Bob live in. There's a mouse that lives in the apartment.
Right.
Because it's not great housing.
Right.
But that mouse lives behind a perfect cartoon mouse hole. Yes. In the floorboards of their living room. That's funny.
That was kind of funny. You got to get a little mouse contractor to get that made for you.
Yeah, perfect little arc in the floorboard. Even Harriet would know that a mouse lives behind that.
Might as well have a neon sign with an arrow.
You don't have to be as smart as Bob to know there's a mouse back there. I think it's interesting, too, that James does not want Bob to catch that mouse.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, he's another roommate of ours. We leave him alone. He's always putting something in front of that mouse hole.
Yeah. I like how he put a copy of Mice and Men in front of that hole at one point.
Yeah. That is funny. Yeah, no, he tells Bob, you're not on the street anymore. You have plenty of food. You don't have to bother our roommate.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That is nice.
But
it might also be nice to not have a mouse in your place. But
yeah. He's got a little matchbook for a bed.
Yeah.
And you actually get the mouse POV.
You do.
As well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
So Roger Spottiswoode, he likes to engage all of his characters, give them all a chance to be the storyteller, even for brief moments.
Right.
That's nice of him.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think this is great. I think especially for our listeners who like a movie where they don't have to worry about there being violence or swearing or
right.
If that's a concern for you, you can't find things to watch with your kids. I think a little discussion makes sure they understand what homelessness and drug addiction is, and they're going to be good to go. There's no sex in this. There's
no. There isn't.
Yeah, it's really a story about a guy and
an
awesome cat.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Yeah, there are some people who have had the chance to play themselves in movies who have not done anything close to what this cat has managed to do in this movie.
The real James does appear in this film.
Yeah?
Yeah, at the very end, he goes to the book signing and he gets his book signed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So you do see him at the very end of the film, but
yeah. If you get the DVD, from your library or if you buy it for your family, there's not a lot of extras on it. There's 2 short extras. One's really just the trailer, I think.
Okay.
And the other one is just a tiny little making of thing, but that's where you get to see that James is just off to the side.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's where I saw the real James, just sort of off to the side.
Yeah.
But also read the book. Look for the children's books. I mean, it's nice.
There's a lot of great photos too, where during the closing credits, you can see Bob giving high fives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loves giving high fives. They present it in the movie as if James just kind of jokingly went, "High five, Bob," to him one day. And Bob was like, "Oh, paw."
Slap. Yeah.
Yeah. Like James was surprised. He didn't, apparently he didn't train him to do that. I don't remember if that's actually true or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. It's cool to think it is.
It is cool to think that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
just instinctively knows.
Like, you put your paw up. I'll put my paw up too.
Sure.
Yeah, this is good. It's a feel good episode, Tim.
It is. Yes, it is. Feel good episode about a feel good movie.
Feel good cat who can play himself 10 years younger. Do you think Harriet could play herself from 10 years ago?
Yeah, I think she could. Well,
she's not even 10 years old, is she?
Not quite.
No. You couldn't play yourself from 10 years ago.
No.
I don't know a lot of cats who, like at the age of 12, 13, 14, whatever Bob might be.
Yeah, Harriet seems to sleep a lot more now than she did back in the day. I think she used to have more energy. Didn't we all?
Didn't we all?
As she yawns, as we say.
She yawned on cue. Good job, girl.
Nice. High five.
No, she doesn't know
what that is. She doesn't get the high five. She rolls over when I do that.
Yeah, she's like, I don't know that one. I don't know that one at all. All right. So, you have any closing thoughts?
Would you recommend people see this film?
No, of course. I think I've been saying that for the last 30 minutes.
Yes, go see it. Don't wait. Well, wait until the end of the episode.
Yes.
And then...
Yeah, if you have Netflix, just go and...
Yeah, just type it in the search and it'll come right up.
Yeah. If Netflix already knows you like cats, it's probably been trying to pitch it to you.
Probably has
for a couple months anyway.
And you've probably been bypassing it because you thought it would be hokey, but no.
Yeah.
It's not. It's very good.
It is very good.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
There you have it. Go play with your cats.
Go play with your cats.